So there's this character, his name is Card, and the whole story takes place in 2034 Seattle, Washington, and the power grid is a little funky because people haven't figured out power. And his bid axe that was given to him by his grandpa finds a block, and at that point, blocks are worth seven. What is it? Whatever it is, 0.78125, I think is the amount. So it's the first time it's less than a full Bitcoin, and it's a big deal. Bitcoin is worth $3.5 million at that point. So when he and his girlfriend that live in a little studio apartment come across, I mean, basically have $2.5 million dropped into their lap, and holy crap! So that's the first. Whoa! I mean, that happens within like the first 5 pages, and then he gets a text message from an unknown number that says, "Don't spend any of that Bitcoin. It'll be worth it. Wait 3 days. I'll talk to you again." So he's, well, what do I do here? I can change my life right now. And I don't know if I'm going to stick with this title, but the title that I have currently, which kind of gives you an idea of what the idea is about, is called Time's Preference. I don't know that time itself actually has a preference, so I'm not so sure about that title, but it points your mind in the direction of what this is about. It's something that Bitcoiners face all the time is, oh, I can sell this right now. I have money in savings. I mean, it's something that anybody faces, whether you have your savings in Bitcoin or just in fiat. You've got savings, assuming you have some. And here comes something that you want. There's Black Friday, there's Cyber Monday, there's some deal. Oh, I could use a new pair of shoes. I don't need a new pair of shoes, but those are some cool shoes. I could use some new shoes. Do you buy them? Do you wait? Do you hold off? It's a decision, and especially it would be complicated if there was some person, even if you knew the person, said, "Hey, don't spend that money," and you're like, "Why not? I can change my life right now. I just got this big bonus from work. I got a $5,000 bonus. I can go and whatever. I can do whatever. All so many different things with this money. Why shouldn't I spend it? Well, I'll tell you in 3 days." What are you talking about? No, I'm going to change my life right now. What would tell me in 3 days? No, but that's kind of where the story starts, and then it goes on from there.
I love that. And honestly, I think novels are an interesting way to orange pill people. I've talked with Michael Sullivan. Is this his name? I think yep. Michael from I forgot the book name that he wrote. I think he published it last year. Oh yeah, exactly. There's a word that I cannot even pronounce. But he with him I also talked about how you can tap to now mainstream people that don't care about Bitcoin, because like giving someone the Bitcoin Standard from Saifedean or the Big Print from Larry LaPower, a book like that, is very different to giving them a novel that has an amazing story that hooks you from the beginning, that just happens to be either around Bitcoin or mentions Bitcoin, or Bitcoin is just like part of the story, but it's not an explanatory piece. It's a novel. It's some kind of story around something. And so if I think about like my sister, or I think about someone that really is for me hard to convince, hey, read that finance book, it's a lot easier to give them like, hey, here's a great story. Bitcoin just happens to be in it. And I'm questioning a lot if this might just be an interesting way of getting Bitcoin into the awareness of people, in a positive awareness of people, not just like, hey, like it's bad for the environment, like it pollutes our ocean, like it costs a lot, it doesn't scale, like all of like that FUD out there, but like putting it in a way people can touch it, like almost like the with what Steve Jobs did with the iPod, was it? That like, oh, like 1,000 songs in your pocket, like things like, don't explain how it works, explain like what I have from it. And with that, with stories, I think it could be really interesting. So I'm getting more and more psyched about like because you said in the beginning, it's a book for Bitcoiners. But at the same time, if you just like not explain it and it just like happens to be in the story, I don't know exactly how it's written, but it could just be that people like the story so much. Or is it something that they cannot enjoy the story if they don't know about Bitcoin?
No, the goal, I hope not. I hope it's not so wrapped up in Bitcoin stuff. Like there's a little explanation in there about like, I mean, for example, when I mention the bit axe, I don't sit there and tell you what a bit axe is and what an ASIC is and how mining works. I just say a bit axe miner about the size of a pack of playing cards. Okay. I mean, some people have seen pictures like my dad when I mentioned Bitcoin mining to him, and he's like, "You mean like those big factories or whatever?" So he's seen images. Where? I don't know. I'm not sure. Maybe on news they talk about it and they show up some picture of Riot platforms or whatever, and they've got this, the walls and walls of ASICs. It looks like an Amazon warehouse or something full of ASICs. So I think when people think of mining, first off, they go, "How do you mine a digital thing?" First off, I was like, "Well, it's maybe not the greatest word, but whatever. That's the word that was used, and it's the one that is stuck." So, yeah, I understand that when you picture people picture mining, they think of a guy with a pickaxe or whatever out, and they're digging in the dirt. Okay, I understand that. And no, that is not what these machines are doing. It's totally different. It's just a word. Anyhow, um, I don't sit there and explain the way that blockchain works and go into all the details. And I I do think that if you're just a person that is like we mentioned, those 200 people on the street, and just somebody's like, yeah, okay, I've heard of Bitcoin, but I couldn't tell you the first thing about it aside from it existing. My hope is that they could read this story and walk away from it going like, oh yeah, I understood the main thing. Like maybe I didn't understand some of the jargon and I don't know exactly, I couldn't tell you precisely what the blockchain is, but I maybe use that term, I don't know, 3 times in the book. I'm not sitting there trying to bash you over the head with a bunch of technical jargon about Bitcoin. It's a story about a guy that comes into this massive reward, and now he's presented with the problem initially of not spending for 3 days, and then after that he's presented with some challenges that this person, this entity, whatever that contacts him, uh, he- he's faced with. He's faced with a dilemma, and basically it comes down to um, high time preference versus low time preference. So do you change your life in a meaningful and significant way right now, or do you delay that and get something greater at the end of this time period that's a little bit longer than the 3 days? And to complicate things, there are some big reasons why he would want to spend that money right now. Like, yes, it's not just that he wants to get some new stuff for himself or buy some clothes for his girlfriend and go on a trip and quit his job. Like, yeah, of course, but there's some other really big reasons that he wants to help a friend out that is like facing homelessness, and he's like some large reasons. He's like, I don't know that I should hold off on spending this. And so it's like, well, what do you do in that situation? And I don't think that anybody that doesn't fully understand Bitcoin is like, well, I don't understand this person's plight at all because I don't understand Bitcoin fully. Like that's not necessary.
I like the time frame that you picked because I look at the. We might actually have talked about it in one of the shows. I look at the time frame where the mining rewards drop under one, starting from 2032, most likely. It was 0.78125, I think, something like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
0. 0.7. I think this time frame will be super interesting for Bitcoiners. I think this is a time frame where we have proven that Bitcoin can survive over a very long period of time. We are probably integrated in all financial aspects of the world. We are probably a very strong, very big asset at that point. I mean, we already are a $2 trillion asset. It's not nothing. It's like almost the biggest company in the world. I mean, like it's half of what the biggest company in the world is with 4.5 trillion or something like that.
Hmm.
At this point, we will be bigger than any single company. I strongly believe so, and maybe like bigger than the 2, 3 biggest one together or something like that. And so this time frame is really interesting because I think at that point Bitcoin will be, I don't want to say widespread, because like what does widespread really mean? But at this point, Bitcoin will be a very strong and dominant asset, and it will be very hard to make any arguments against it at that point. Why did you choose like 2032 or like the framing where the mining rewards are dropping under one?
Because I think that is the most significant halving of all the halvings. Because I think that there's something really mentally sticky about that one Bitcoin, you'll see people like British Hodl. I know that is his biggest thing. He's talked about getting to one Bitcoin, and there's something that people like about that with having a round number. Even if you had 0.98 Bitcoin, you'd think like, well, I want to pass that one mark. I want to have be able to say that I have one of the 21 million in existence. And I think that it's a real there's something about that different round numbers. And that is, yeah, you could say, well, what about the time that it dropped under 50? It's like, okay, yeah, when 5 people knew about Bitcoin back then, like that happened within the first 40. I mean, I'm not, obviously I'm being a little bit facetious there. It was a lot more than 5 people, but you get my point. Not that many people knew about it compared to now. And I think I think it's just, it's a mental thing. And so when you know that your miner operation no longer can even get you a full Bitcoin, that you have to work harder. Like your Bitcoin miner operation, whatever, you have to find 2 blocks to break that one number now, that threshold. And yeah, I just think that with things that you said, with the timing and so many other factors, strategy still acquiring Bitcoin, they're on the way to, it looks like, trying to, I mean, will they hit a million before the price hits a million? I don't know. It's looking like that given their trajectory and what they acquired last year. I also think that this year it's going to be a lot harder for them to acquire as much as they did in 2025. I guess I said this year. We're in 2026 now. Technically, it's been a week, whatever. Sorry, my brain's still switching over to the new year. Probably like most people, it takes a little while. It's not like an immediate thing. I'm not a computer brain. Um, and I just think it's a significant date. There's so many things pointed in that direction. I watched a three or listened. I didn't watch it. It would have been pretty boring to watch, but listened to a 3-hour podcast with Elon and I'm forgetting his name. It's the Moonshots podcast, Peter Demetrios or something like that. And it's a fairly wide-ranging conversation, but focused on tech and AI. And I don't, there are people out there that have this opinion. They seem to hear what Elon says, and then they take it and they go, "Wow, we're entering into like completely uncharted territories." Elon says things like, "Oh, this year there's a whatever percentage that will have AGI, and then we're gonna." He thinks at Grok 5, there's like a 10% chance that it'll achieve AGI. Like, I don't know what they have behind the closed doors in the labs and at XAI. I know it's better than what I'm getting and have access to, but I interact with AI on a damn near daily basis, and my results with it are anywhere from stunning. Like, I built a whole server. I'm not a coder. I was explained that earlier. I don't know the first thing about doing any of that. And I have a whole in-home server that I built. I mean, I bought a Dell tower off of eBay for 90 bucks, and then with the help of AI and taking pictures of it, Gemini, and asking it like, how do I get this all set up? It gave me the code and I installed Linux on it. And like, it doesn't even have a screen. So I'm accessing it from my other computer and typing in SSH whatever onto PowerShell. And I'm like, this is all stuff that was completely foreign to me. I didn't even know there was a program called PowerShell on my Windows PC to access things like that. This is all, what, okay. I'm just following along and it's giving me all these detailed instructions and it worked basically flawlessly. Well, if I ask it other questions, like how to do a fraction, like I build screens as part of my job sometimes, and I'll be like, okay, I need to take off an inch and a half. So I've got 28 and 3/8 of an inch, and I need to take an inch and a half off. What is that? And it's like, it's 34 and 0.78 of an inch. I'm like, that is not even possible. That's not even remotely close to right. So when I'm told by Elon, and he's sitting up there on stage and saying, oh, within 3 years, we're going to have as many robots roaming the streets and in the world as there are humans, and that every human on the planet will have access to healthcare that is better than the president of the United States receives right now. I go, really? And they go, well, you don't understand the exponentials. You just don't understand. Once the AI starts replicating and making itself and doing it, and just like it's just gonna go flying. Okay, okay, yeah, maybe. And he's sitting up there saying that universal high income, it's universal. You can get whatever you want. Income is going to happen. This is going to loop around to your question about the date. I'll finish here in a second, but all of these people are saying that like the world is entering like this is the singularity. We're in it right now. And I look around and I go to a grocery store and there's a person that's trying to figure out like how to put a can in a bag. It's like AI is going to just come in and fix all of this inside of 3 years? Look, maybe. Who knows? Maybe there's gonna be some massive breakthrough, and then just it's gonna be like in some of those movies where it is exponential, and then one AI, like, robot builds 2, and then the 2 build 4, and then the 4 build 8, and then just, oh my goodness, and then the next day you wake up, and this has been happening all night long, and the next thing you know, there's a 5 billion Optimus robots out there. It's like, okay, well, where do they get the material? Like, you can't just magically that has to be found. Like, you have to form the plastics and the metal that has to be forged, and there's a process here. You can't just magic this stuff into existence. And so I say all this because, well, I do think we're going to, and we are at any given point going through significant change. I don't think that the change is going to be so significant that you don't need to save for the future, which is one thing that Elon said. He's like, we're going to have so much energy and free everything that you don't even need to save for retirement. I don't think that's great advice. And so I do think that things like Bitcoin and other real assets, like you can see what's happening with gold and copper and silver right now, people are swinging out of non-real things, stocks and bonds and equities. Like, I don't even know what this thing is.
The first thing that every Bitcoiner does, and the most important activity that every Bitcoiner keeps on doing, is buying Bitcoin. And I personally use Relay to buy and sometimes also spend or sell my Bitcoin. And there are two main reasons why I do so. The first one is it's Bitcoin only. They do not do any shit coins. They do not do any cryptos, any stocks, or anything else. This is a tool, an app that is fully focused only and solely on Bitcoin. The second one is self-custody. They give you the keys to your Bitcoin the moment you buy them. You never give them the control over your Bitcoin, and you don't have to trust them because you can verify that you and only you have the keys to your Bitcoin. There's no third-party risk. There's no freezing of your assets. There's no rug pulling. There's nothing of that. Download Relay, the app, on your phone, or go to relay.app on your browser and use code Robin to save fees and get cheaper Bitcoin. I want to tell you about something very special to me. It's called micro seed. If you hold your Bitcoin in self-custody, and you should, you know how critical it is to secure your seed phrase. You should not have them on paper. You should not have them on anything else than titanium. With micro seed, you can engrave your 12 or 24 word seed phrase, the entire seed phrase, onto a 1-inch small washer. Yes, just one washer. All 24 words on that one washer. You can hide that thing everywhere. And even better, you don't need to buy a new kit every time you have to get a new wallet. You can make unlimited backups because MicroSeed is not selling the washer. MicroSeed is selling the device that stamps the washer. So you get the full kit with the device, with the washers, with the hammer, with everything you need to get started today, and you can make with that unlimited amount of backups. Go now to microseed.io.